From Mortal to Divine, a Cultivation Epic, Episode 1. Grandpa Chen, please open the door. Just as it started to get dark, the gate of Grandpa Chen's house in Guanling village was knocked. Grandpa Chen, open the door. It's me, Lu Degang. I have an urgent matter. The person knocking on the door was a young man from the Lu family in the village. Judging by his anxious appearance, there must be something urgent. However, at that moment, Grandpa Chen was not at home. Only Chen Xiaobian, Grandpa Chen's son, was sleeping in his own room. Who is it? So annoying. I'm coming. Stop knocking. The urgent knocking disturbed Chen Xiaobian's peaceful sleep, making him quite annoyed. Hearing the urgency in the voice, he reluctantly stretched and got up. Lu Degang, have you gone mad? Is our door your enemy, Xiaobian? Upon opening the door, Chen Xiaobian saw his childhood friend, Lu Degang. My dad went out to see a patient. What's so urgent? Is there a fire? Forget it. If it's an urgent matter at home, only Grandpa Chen can handle it. Chen Xiaobian, being cheerful and lively, mentioned that his father had gone out to see a patient when Lu Degang asked why Grandpa Chen wasn't at home. He tried to divert the conversation and asked what had happened. My sister brought her child back home to stay, but as soon as my little nephew entered the house, he started crying. He has been crying non-stop for 2 days. Lu Degang and Chen Xiaobian didn't hide anything and explained the unusual behavior of their little nephew in the past few days. Do we need to bother my dad for such a small matter? I'll handle it. Just you. After listening, Chen Xiaobian patted his chest and confidently declared that he could solve this problem. Can you handle it with your limited skills? Don't worry. I've already learned a thing or two from our old man. Knowing that Chen Xiaobian grew up under the guidance of Grandpa Chen and must have learned some skills, Lu Degang had doubts because of Chen Xiaobian's tendency to boast. Degang, is your sister Chunny at home? You brat. Don't mess with my sister's ideas. However, since Grandpa Chen wasn't at home and there were no other options, they decided to take Chen Xiaobian with them to see what was happening. Ha! What's this? The two families lived not far from each other. They arrived at the door after turning 2 corners, but Chen Xiaobian's attention was immediately caught by a paper on the wall. This kind of paper is meant to soothe crying children at night. Chen Xiaobian saw this paper and immediately tore it off. These things are all scams. They don't work. Lu Degang was about to complain, but considering that the paste hadn't been effective in calming down his crying nephew since last night, he hesitated and decided not to say anything. But the child doesn't have a fever, so why is he crying incessantly? As soon as they entered the courtyard of the Lu family, they could hear the heart-wrenching cries of the child coming from inside the house. Degang will be back soon. It must be some kind of evil influence. We've never experienced anything like this before. Degang's sister had been married and living in the city for over 2 years. This time, she brought her 1-year-old child back to her parents' home for a visit. However, as soon as they entered the house, the child started crying and hadn't stopped for 2 whole days. They couldn't figure out what was wrong, and the whole family was worried. Leave everything to me. Just when everyone was at a loss, the door was pushed open, and the voice of a young man echoed. I'll handle this. Don't block the door. Come inside quickly. It was Chen Xiaobian who had arrived. As soon as he entered, he couldn't help but indulge in his habit of bragging. Xiaobian, you're here. Chunny, don't worry, I'm here. As soon as Chen Xiaobian entered, Degang's sister, Chunny, greeted him. They had indeed grown up together as childhood friends. Chunny, but the people from the Lu family strongly oppose you two getting too close. They seem nervous about the situation. All right, leave it to me. Take your hands off. Don't touch my sister. Seeing the stern gazes from the Lu family, Chen Xiaobian immediately wiped away his playful expression. That's my nephew. Let me see our little nephew." He quickly walked into the house to assess the child's condition. In fact, the Liu family members were still a bit worried when they saw Chen Xiaobian. After all, he was young, and they wondered if he could handle such matters. Chen Xiaobian approached the child, who was just over a year old, crying loudly and seemingly in great discomfort. Chen Xiaobian had a natural ability to see spirits, but it was inconsistent. He carefully observed that the child's eyes had turned blue, and he faintly saw the ghost of a little boy standing behind the child. This child has indeed encountered something evil. Now is not the time for jokes. Chen Xiaobian's expression turned serious as he explained the situation to everyone. "All right, this spot will do." He then stood up, walked around the room a couple of times, and finally positioned himself in front of the eastern wall, contemplating a solution. "Chunny, please boil a kettle of hot water." "All right." Following Chen Xiaobian's instructions, the Liu family members busied themselves. After a while, the ritual to drive away evil spirits began. Chen Xiaobian instructed everyone to turn off all the lights in the house and then illuminated the room with a flashlight. "Is this enough?" "Yes." Just like that. Chen Xiaobian then had Liu Degang, who had more strength, hold the child in his arms and cast the child's shadow onto the wall. "Xiaobian, the hot water is ready." "Good. Bring it here." Just as they were about to proceed, Chunny arrived with a kettle of hot water. "You little ghost, taste my power." Chen Xiaobian took the kettle of hot water from Chunny's hands and immediately poured it onto the wall where the child's shadow was cast. "Dagang, hold him firmly." As soon as the hot water touched the shadow on the wall, the child's crying suddenly became more shrill. The child let out a sudden scream, looking extremely agonized, as if the hot water had been poured onto his body. "It's he. Is he okay?" It worked. After the scream, the child's consciousness paused for a moment before the crying stopped, and his appearance returned to normal. "Ha ha ha. Of course, I'm quite amazing." "Xiaobian, well done." The lights in the room were turned back on, and the whole family was delighted to see the child better. They praised Chen Xiaobian's abilities. "You little one, you really have some talent. To have such abilities at such a young age." "Well, of course." Hearing the praise from the Liu family, Chen Xiaobian's spirits were lifted even higher. "How dare you touch my child?" But just as everyone was starting to relax, a voice filled with hostility from an unfamiliar woman suddenly echoed through the room. "My child just wanted to find a friend to play with. Why did you hurt him?" Everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice, only to find that it was the eldest sister of the Liu family. However, her state at that moment seemed rather peculiar. "Locking us in here and hurting us. I won't let you go. I will never forgive you for hurting my child." Just as everyone was stunned, the eldest sister of the Liu family let out a scream and lunged towards Chen Xiaobian. "You wicked person! Why did you hurt my child?" Before Chen Xiaobian could react, he was suddenly attacked by the Liu family's eldest sister. She scratched and bit at him. "Oh no, there's another ghost in the house. My sister is possessed." Chen Xiaobian finally realized the situation. The Liu family's eldest sister was possessed by a ghost. He quickly stepped back to avoid her attacks. "You will die." The female ghost didn't give up and once again lunged at Chen Xiaobian with both hands. "Oh no, who tripped me?" As Chen Xiaobian tried to retreat again, he unexpectedly tripped and fell to the ground. Just as he was about to get up quickly, a large hand suddenly pressed down on his shoulder. Chen Xiaobian's heart skipped a beat. Was there another ghost behind him? "Father, father, you useless brat. You dare to come and learn how to drive away evil spirits." Startled, Chen Xiaobian turned his head to see his own father, old Chen Dog, standing behind him. "Chen Dadia." This old dog finally came. Upon seeing old Chen Dog, the Liu family members immediately felt relieved. Nobody doubted the abilities of this old man. Where did you come from? Why did you come here to do this? Chen Xiaobian quickly got up, but old Chen Dog didn't pay him any attention. He directly spoke to the Lu family's eldest sister. They brought us here, and they trapped us. At that moment, the Lu family's eldest sister extended her left hand, as if she was gently caressing a child's head. Did you recently bring back something strange from outside? After hearing the words of the Lu family's eldest sister, old Chen Dog turned to ask the Lu family if they had brought something back. We found 2 jars a few days ago. We thought they were antiques. The Lu family members recalled that they had dug up 2 ceramic jars from their own land a few days ago. They thought they might be worth some money, so they brought them home. Following the direction indicated by Dagging, old Chen Dog and Chen Xiaobian looked and indeed saw 2 jet-black ceramic jars placed in the northwest corner of the house. 1 large and 1 small jar, with traces of soil on them. They indeed seem to have some age to them. You have quite the nerve. These are mother-child jars, used to hold the ashes of a mother and child. How dare you bring them back? At a glance, old Chen Dog recognized that these items were yin coffin jars, used in the past specifically to hold the ashes of a mother and child. They emitted heavy yin energy, and take down the round mirror from the door. With that gone, they won't be able to leave. Old Chen Dog also noticed that the Lu family had hung a round mirror on the lintel of the door according to local customs. This prevented the mother and child spirits from leaving, causing them to stay. Digging up the bone jars has also freed the souls of you mother and child. It's a good thing. Go and reincarnate early. As everyone finished cleaning up the house, old Chen Dog once again spoke to the female ghost. We will leave. We won't stay here. With a bend of her left arm, the Lu family's eldest sister, as if cradling a child, said that they would leave. Please burn some money for us, so I can buy something for my child to eat. However, she made a small request. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. After stating her condition, the Lu family's eldest sister slowly walked towards the door and stopped in the yard. She stood there, motionless, for over a minute. Suddenly, the Lu family's eldest sister's head tilted, and her body softly fell backward. Sis, are you okay? What happened to me? Fortunately, Dagging had been keeping an eye on his sister and quickly caught her as she fell. All right, roll some eggs for the young lady and the child, to ward off bad luck. Then the old lady will leave. Having seen that the female ghost had left, old Chen Dog gave some instructions to the Lu family's elders on what they should do next. A pile of yellow paper was set on fire at the entrance of the Lu family's house. You've had a hard time. Reincarnate early. It was old Chen Dog who burned the paper. He also made 2 paper figurines, 1 large and 1 small, as substitutes to be burned for the mother and child, performing a ritual for their salvation. Young brat, remember, not every ghost needs to be eliminated. Oh, I understand. All right, go and stick the emperor's paper on the door. After the yellow paper had burned completely, old Chen Dog instructed Chen Xiaobian to stick the torn paper back in place. When people recite it often, it brings positive energy to children. It's beneficial. Father, isn't this just a scam? Chen Xiaobian was a bit puzzled. But after listening to old Chen Dog's explanation, he understood that these ancient customs, passed down for thousands of years, still had some validity. Goodbye, Dagging. You're welcome. Thank you, old Chen. As the 2 were about to leave, Dagging hurriedly came out to see them off and thanked old Chen Dog. At that moment, Dagging noticed that Chunny was standing behind him, silently watching Chen Xiaobian and the others leave. What are you looking at? Come inside. Don't go looking for that brat. Dagging quickly stepped forward and pulled his sister back into the house. You have a loner's fate, repelling loved ones. Don't go harming others. The quarrel behind them reached Chen Xiaobian's ears, and of course, old Chen Dog's ears as well. Don't have any thoughts about other people's good girls. Father, what are you talking about? That's not going to happen. As soon as father hinted at it, Chen Xiaobian blushed and immediately put on a playful expression. Father, then our Chen family will be extinct. That depends on whether you can encounter a woman with a unique destiny. Oh, so you're picky, huh? What if she turns out to be like a female demon? I'd rather remain single. Not for medical treatment, but to deal with the demon in the mountains. Father, you've been going out to treat someone these past few days. Oh, I see. It's the one-eyed ghost in the mountains. Yes, tomorrow, you'll come with me to take a look. The story of Chen Xiaobian and Old Chen Dog has just begun. Please stay tuned for the next episode, Battle with the Cat Demon. The Demon Cat. The patriarch of the Zhao family in the village passed away today. Brother, should we just leave father lying on the table like this? What should we do? Father's passing was so sudden, and we didn't even have time to prepare a coffin. The two brothers of the Zhao family sat in the courtyard that evening, keeping vigil over their father's body. They discussed the funeral arrangements for the next few days. So, how long should we keep watch like this? Normally, at least 3 days. Let's take shifts once the coffin is ready tomorrow. It has to be said that old Zhao was a good man. He had a kind heart throughout his life, was well liked among the villagers, and both of his sons were dutiful. I found a partner. I was planning to bring her back for father to meet. It's all fate. There's nothing we can do. A few days ago, the old man was walking just fine. Then he suddenly had a stroke. It was quite severe, and in the blink of an eye, a previously robust person was gone. By the way, check if the incense is still burning. We mustn't let it go out. As the Zhao brothers kept vigil, they followed the old customs and lit longevity incense next to the body. They also needed to keep an eye on the incense throughout the vigil. That longevity incense, if it goes out, it's said to be bad for our family's descendants. There's more to it than that. Around 11 o'clock p.m., Zhao's second son turned around to see if the incense had burned down completely. What's wrong? Brother, look at that. It was at this moment that the second son suddenly noticed a shadow moving in the morning hall. Taking advantage of the candlelight, the two brothers took a closer look and were instantly frightened. It turned out to be a big black cat that had somehow gotten into the morning hall. It was currently under the table where the body was placed. The black cat had one blind eye, and both brothers recognized it. Just as the brothers were taken aback, the one-eyed black cat suddenly jumped onto old Zhao's body. The black cat used its claws to pull away the white cloth covering the body. Then it blew air into old Zhao's mouth. It was unclear what it was doing. Get this creature out of here quickly. The Zhao brothers realized the situation and rushed into the morning hall, shouting loudly as they tried to drive away the one-eyed black cat. You go that way. All right. Seeing the two men rushing toward it, the black cat swiftly jumped down from the other side of the body. Get out of here quickly, you beast. The black cat was incredibly agile, evading the Zhao brothers as it circled around the table. Quick, get out. With a flick of its hind legs, the black cat leaped onto the windowsill. The one-eyed black cat that had jumped onto the windowsill wasn't alarmed. It glanced at the two brothers, let out a couple of meows while tilting its head, and then pushed open the window to jump out. We let that beast off too easily. If I see it again, I won't spare it. Seeing the black cat run away, the Zhao brothers were left frustrated, only able to vent their anger with a few harsh words. All the windows are closed. How did that creature get in? Is father all right? He's fine. Zhao's elder brother rechecked all the windows, and Zhao's second son covered their father's body with the white cloth again, making sure it wasn't disturbed. For just a cat, why are you so nervous? What do you know? You can't let these things touch the body. They might impersonate the deceased. Zhao's second son had been working outside the village for years and wasn't familiar with rural customs. He found it strange that his elder brother was so concerned about the black cat. Impersonate the deceased. What kind of era are you living in? You think this is a movie or something? Zhao's second son laughed when he heard impersonate the deceased. He believed that once a person was dead, they were no different from a slab of meat and couldn't move. Come on. Even though I haven't seen it, I've heard people talk about this kind of thing often. Little did they know that at this moment, behind them, the old man's body had already undergone a change. Some things are better believed than dismissed. By the way, is the incense still burning? The two brothers were completely unaware that the old man's body had sat up and was now at the entrance, engaged in a conversation. And, brother, what's wrong now? But at that moment, Zhao's second son's voice began to tremble. Zhao's elder brother turned back in confusion, and at that instant, the reanimated body of old Zhao turned its head to stare at the two brothers. The terrifying sight left the two brothers with their mouths agape and the hair on their backs standing on end. Meanwhile, old Zhao's body twisted in a manner that a living person couldn't achieve, facing the direction of the two brothers. His mouth was wide open, and his eyes were fixedly staring at them. Dad, he's alive again. Staring at each other for a moment, no one dared to move. It was Zhao's second son who finally broke the deadlock with his shaky words. Impersonate the deceased. Bullshit. This is impersonating the deceased. Run. Zhao's elder brother finally realized the situation, let out a shout, and turned to run. Simultaneously, old Zhao's reanimated body also moved, crawling in the direction of the two men. Dad, they won't let you practice medicine anymore. How will things work in the future? Why are you still not? Meanwhile, at Chen Laogu's house, Chen Laogu and Chen Xiaobian were getting ready to eat. It's easy for you to say that. Eating this every day, it's like growing mushrooms in your mouth. In the past, Chen Laogu was the village's barefoot doctor. The father and son's lives were relatively decent, but in recent years, the town authorities found out he didn't have a medical license. Since then, they've prohibited him from treating people. Dad, how about a few days from now? Lu Degang and I go work in the city. Chen Laogu had gotten used to this simple life, but Chen Xiaobian had a special yearning for the outside world, especially the big city. He would often bring it up, whether there was a reason or not. Chen Lao. No, Uncle Chen. You better go take a look. Something's happened. Just then, two young villagers from the village rushed in, visibly panicked. Our second uncle from the Zhao family. He's playing dead. That's right, playing dead. After catching their breath for a while, they finally explained what had happened. All right. Xiao Gu, you and your son should go ahead. I'll follow. Upon hearing that it was about playing dead, the Chen father and son didn't dare to procrastinate. They left their meal untouched and prepared to handle the situation. Dad, you better hurry. I'll grab some things. You go ahead and deal with it. Chen Laogu knew that this kind of situation was not something anyone would dare to approach. Afraid that the reanimated body might harm someone, he instructed Chen Xiaobian to handle it first while he prepared some items to deal with the situation. Don't let the body run into the village and cause harm, and don't let it draw blood. Understood. You should hurry. Chen Laogu knew that Chen Xiaobian was impulsive and not very steady, so he repeatedly reminded him several times. Little did he know that Chen Xiaobian was fearless, having already rushed out. Chen Xiaobian, along with the two young villagers, ran to the entrance of the Zhao family's house and found that Zhao's second son was leaning against the front gate. Well, Zhao's second brother, you've got quite the courage. You've been guarding here. Is the body still inside? Come over and help me up. My legs are weak. I can't stand. Chen Xiaobian was about to compliment him for his bravery, but it turned out that the second son of the Zhao family was trembling all over due to fear, unable to leave. The sound is coming from inside. Let's go in. Chen Xiaobian wasn't impulsive. He first investigated the location of the body and then began to act. The three of them bolstered each other's courage and weren't as scared anymore, so they pushed open the door of the Zhao family's house. However, when they rushed into the house and saw the situation clearly, they all froze in place like lampposts. As it turned out, at that moment, the old Zhao was in a very peculiar posture, lying face down on the ground, staring blankly at a corner of the room. Because the sudden intrusion had alarmed the old Zhao, he immediately turned his head towards the three people like a startled animal, poised to pounce. Quick! Run! Ordinary people had never encountered such a frightening scene before. With a howl, the two young men turned and ran out. Chen Xiaobian was also scared at this point, but he couldn't bring himself to turn and flee like they did. However, before he could react, the old Zhao had already lunged at him. Keeping his wits about him, Chen Xiaobian saw a stool by the doorway and instinctively grabbed it to block the oncoming attack from the body. Having barely blocked the attack from the old Zhao, Chen Xiaobian was astonished to see deep marks on the surface of the stool. As Chen Xiaobian was still in shock, the body of the old Zhao lunged at him once again. The speed and force of the attack were not to be underestimated. Keep fending off for a while longer. I'll be there in a moment. Chen Xiaobian's father's voice finally came from behind, offering support. In an instant, the body lunged at him again. With his father as backup, Chen Xiaobian's courage grew, and he charged forward. However, he accidentally stepped on something soft underfoot. Looking down, he realized it was the white cloth covering the body. Chen Xiaobian immediately had an idea. The cloth covering the body provided Chen Xiaobian with a brief moment of respite. Taste the strength of this young master. Chen Xiaobian rushed forward, kicking the large wooden table that held the body upward, and then used both hands to push, squeezing the body of the old Zhao tightly into the corner of the room. If it's just a regular reanimated corpse, you should be able to handle it. You always brag about being powerful. Chen Xiaobian was busy with his actions, while Chen Laogu, intentionally or not, calmly drew symbols on the side. Dad, this doesn't seem right. This isn't an ordinary reanimated corpse. However, at that moment, the hands of the body suddenly pierced through the thick wooden table surface. If it weren't for Chen Xiaobian's quick reaction, he would have been impaled like a kebab. It's coming. Chen Laogu also grew nervous at this situation. With a swift step, he approached and stuck the symbols he had drawn onto the forehead of the old Zhao's body. Strangely enough, the body that had been ferocious and immensely strong just moments ago suddenly seemed immobilized, as if under a paralyzing spell, motionless. Dad, why did old Zhao fake his death? With the danger averted, the two of them moved the table aside, while the body of old Zhao remained frozen in the same posture, trembling. I don't know. Let's place him properly for now. No wonder they say the dead are heavy, incredibly heavy. This is too heavy. Once again, the two of them exerted effort to manage the old Zhao's body. They drew a large symbol under the wooden table to prevent any further changes. Go and bring all the members of the Zhao family here. Let's ask what happened. Tell me how old Zhao faked his death. The Zhao family members were all gathered in front of the funeral hall. Chen Laogu proceeded to inquire about the cause of the fake death. I reckon it was that blind one-eyed black cat my father had been keeping for the past few years. It crawled onto my father's body just now. As the Zhao family brothers who had been keeping vigil recounted the story, they wiped sweat from their brows nervously. It seems your dad didn't kill that old cat, huh? Being too soft-hearted can cause trouble. As soon as he heard about the black cat, Chen Laogu understood the situation to a great extent. I've told him many times that cats only live about 6 years, while dogs live around 8 years. But he just wouldn't listen. Chen Laogu also knew about the one-eyed black cat. Old Zhao had picked it up from the roadside years ago. He didn't know how old it was when he found it, but it had already grown to adulthood. It had been living in old Zhao's house for over a decade. It's possible that this cat has returned to borrow a corpse and seek rebirth. As soon as Chen Laogu saw the cat, he realized that it had gained some spiritual power. He advised old Zhao to deal with it, as according to legends, when cats and dogs live beyond their natural lifespans in households, they can bring about many malevolent occurrences. Having stayed in the world of animals for too long, it seems it's curious about experiencing human life. While speaking, Chen Laogu glanced at the roof of the Zhao family's house, and Chen Xiaobian also noticed it. On the rooftop of the Zhang family's house, there was indeed a black cat standing there, the same one-eyed black cat. Aware of being spotted, the black cat cast a fierce glare at the group with its one eye, and then vanished into the darkness. It seems this creature won't stop unless dealt with. It must be eliminated. Chen Laogu knew that once such creatures tread the path of darkness, it's difficult for them to turn back. It looks like a battle against supernatural forces is inevitable.